This is Subfocus, and you are watching SPGtv.
SPGtv.
How you doing, peeps? It's Joshua reporting for SPGtv, and stood next to me is international DJ and bass music producer Subfocus.
What's up, man?
I'm all good. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. I just did a show at East Anglia Uni, and it was really good, actually, unexpectedly very good.
Obviously, you do a lot of international stuff now. How would you compare the crowd around the world compared to the UK crowd?
Well, tonight was really, really good. It's like super responsive crowd. I generally really like playing in the UK. I think there are certain types of music that I play that are quite UK specific. Like I've been playing a lot of old speed garage and like some kind of more like modern production, but same kind of sound. And that sort of sound doesn't tend to work so well outside the UK. It's more of a UK specific sound. It varies in different territories, really. You go to America and like some of the kind of more noisy dubstep or drumstep stuff works better. Eastern Europe, they love like techie drum and bass. So it kind of really varies from territory to territory. And as you tour more, you get a feel for like what each crowd likes, and you know, I'll probably slightly change what I play from gig to gig, you know, depending on what A, I'm feeling at the time, and B, the crowd seem to respond to.
What can we expect to see from Subfocus in the next 6 months? First
of all, my brand new single Tidal Wave featuring a group called Alpines has just come out, so that's out now. And at the moment I've just been doing a few tour dates here and there, basically locked in the studio finishing my next album, which is due out spring 2013, so just early next year. And also I've got a big live show in London at Electric Brixton, and that's coming up on 7th of December, so keeping busy, man.
Besides your own records, what tunes are big for you at the moment?
Oh God, there's a lot of stuff around at the moment that I've really been feeling, particularly feeling some of the trap stuff. Flostradamus, I've been really liking a lot of their records. I got them to remix my single Tidal Wave, actually, which seems to be getting a lot of good online buzz. Aside from that, quite a lot of the house stuff as well. A guy called Shadow Child I've really been feeling at the moment. Yeah, that kind of slightly sort of deeper UK house stuff I've been really enjoying. So likes of, I don't know, Eats Everything, those type of people. So big up those guys as well. Yeah, I like to try and sort of listen to lots of different stuff and play as varied as I can, really, across different genres.
So obviously you've been massively successful on a solo scale. Are there any other producers, not only in the bass music world, maybe in the house music world as well, you'd want to collaborate with?
Yeah, there's definitely a whole bunch of different people I'd pick out. I started a track with Nero, I've got a studio next to, who are, I mean, in the same world, but I'd love to finish that track off. There's so many people really to pick. I think going for someone more unusual, I really like Grimes at the moment, who's like a wicked female vocalist from Canada. All her vocals kind of sound like old samples. I really like the sound that she gets out of her voice. So that would be a cool collabo, something in the future.
Now, your live setup is pretty impressive. Take us through what equipment you're using now for live stuff.
Okay, so it's pretty complicated. I don't know how well I'm going to explain this now. Basically, the core of it is an Apple laptop, basically running Ableton. But the interesting stuff is what's controlling that. So, like, I use iPads with sort of this bespoke software that I'd made for them, so I can sort of do things like chop up beats on the fly or create patterns using a step sequence. It's all fairly technical stuff, but if you're interested, anyway. And I also had these custom-made motion sensors made, which is super cool, which are basically these boxes like this that emit an infrared beam above them. So when I move my hand within the beam, I can control sound. So I can bring in a bass sound like this by moving my hand down into this invisible beam, or make a sound pitch up and down and stuff. So it's really cool. And I wanted to basically come up with ways of performing electronic music that were like more visual, because a lot of people performing electronic music like use keyboards or like kind of button grids or laptops, and it's all very introverted and everyone's like looking into something. So I wanted to use stuff that, as much stuff as possible that was like visuals. I've also got like drum pads, like big drum pads, so you can sort of see the connection between me hitting one and the sound happening, or me moving my hand in air and something changing with the sound, you know. So I'm trying to make it, you know, something that where people can see what I'm doing when I'm performing.
And obviously, I mean, bass music has changed in the last, 5 years. It's come on leaps and bounds. Yeah. Where do you see it going next? Because obviously, everybody's kind of doing something different now.
I feel at the moment that there's a kind of very sort of noisy strain of that, the kind of music that I've been playing, that I think will end up being toned down over the next few years, because I think it's been done so much that that kind of string of the sound needs to change. I'm talking about like really the sort of really noisier drum step or dubstep stuff. I think that will probably naturally mellow with time, but it's really hard to predict where it's going to go. That's the beauty of it. I just hope it keeps changing and evolving, because that's what basically keeps it strong.
What are your main inspirations?
I'd say getting into dance music, I think people like Chemical Brothers, Daft Punk, I've got a lot of respect for, and I love the way those groups have like an identity, or a band like, let's say, Justice. I love groups with like really strong visual identity and kind of, where you can tell what the whole brand is. So those kind of groups definitely inspire me a lot. But musically, not so much. It's just I listen to loads of different stuff, and a kind of combination of that stuff becomes what my music sounds like, hopefully,
Cool. And obviously, there's lots of budding DJs and producers out there who, really want to get into the industry. I mean, what's your advice for these guys?
I would say just be persistent. It takes a long time. I remember giving people demos for ages, and actually I gave people demos, CDs in clubs and stuff, like actually well-known DJs. I gave them demos of tunes that later came out, So quite often you give a track to a DJ and they'll lose it, or the CD will break or something. So I would say just don't be discouraged by knockbacks, because that's going to happen a lot early on, and often people just don't even hear them to start off with. So it's all about being persistent. I'd say also, if you do try and sort of give demos to people, don't give them like millions of tunes. Give them like 2 really good tracks, because people are much more likely to, people don't really have time to sit through loads of stuff. They kind of, but if something grabs them straight away, people will respond. And I think the whole dance music's quite sort of meritocratic. Like if the tune's massive, it will become massive. So that's. If you do something great, I think people will eventually hear it.
Cool. And one more question, just for jokes, just for laughs. Getting a lot of people on Twitter wanting to know: will you be participating in Movember?
I can confirm that I'm not participating.
Why not? Why not?
Sadly, as my stubble is pathetic, but my touring buddy and MC Chris ID is definitely doing it, and apparently he's going for a handlebar moustache. So watch out for that.
Excellent.